At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Krueger. You're watching Coffee with Krueger. Happy Tuesday morning to you. It is the last day of April. It's April 30th. And can you believe it? We're talking about another cool down by this weekend and more rain. You know, typically this time of the year, as we start getting into May, we start kind of talking about heat waves, kind of when the next heat's going to be arriving and all that good stuff, right? I mean, typically by now, we've even hit 90 degrees or even 100 degrees. But not the case this year. We have yet to hit 90 this year so far. And I don't see any 90-degree readings in the next week or so. You know, as we start getting into May, it's not uncommon for us to see 100 degrees or higher. I don't see it at least for the next week or two. But again, that's kind of a long way out. Good morning to you, Lisa, saying happy Tuesday to you all. So glad you could join us this morning. All right, let's get you out the door this morning. If you're just tuning in to check out the weather before you head out the door, take the kids to school or whatever it is you're doing to get to work or whatever. Well, there you can see, of course, we've got the rain up to our north. We've got the clouds coming in from the west, but mainly just in the form of some of those high clouds out there. Right now, a little chilly. You might need a light jacket depending on how sensitive you are to these cooler temperatures. I know I am, so I typically like to wear a light jacket. 49 degrees for Redding, 46 for Chico, but we are at or below freezing for some of us in the mountains, in particular in the eastern mountains. Look at Bernie, 26, 27 for Chester as well as El Turris, 32 in Susanville. And of course, we got those low 40s right now. In fact, there is a freeze warning for Del Norte, Humboldt, and Trinity County. Now, temperatures, as you saw there, are quite cold. Now, they're obviously even colder in the eastern mountains, but, you know, it's one of those things where you can pretty much expect it, especially for this time of the year. All right, look at the winds out there right now. Now, they're fairly calm for most of us. But what I find interesting is at the Redding Airport, the winds have been fairly calm. But boy, up where I am, the winds are blowing a bit. I can see those trees blowing in the wind. Everyone's American flags blowing in the wind. So it just depends on where you are. I mean, if you're sheltered by these winds, it's not going to be quite as bad. So there is a wind advisory for the valley and some of the surrounding foothills from 11 o'clock tonight until 5 p.m. tomorrow. Now, the winds will be sustained at about 15 to 25 miles per hour. Quite honestly, probably closer to 10 to 20 miles per hour. I've got those gusts in the 25 to 40 mile an hour range. If I'm going to be 100% honest with you, I'm not terribly concerned about this wind event. I think if anything, we're on the low end of the criteria of a wind advisory. So the chances of us seeing power outages, down trees or limbs or branches, I don't think we're going to see a ton of that going on with this wind event. This is not going to be major. I mean, you're going to notice it. It's going to be windy. We're going to call it just downright windy for tomorrow. But again, we've seen worse conditions. Now take a look at the forecast wind gusts and you'll see what I'm talking about. I think the winds will pick up in intensity through this afternoon and into this evening. By tonight and into tomorrow morning, you see how we're seeing gusts, in that close to 30 mile an hour range. Now, again, there are going to be some areas. Now, look at to the west side, right? The west side of the valley. You're getting into some of those yellows and oranges. So, the thing is, we're picking up on these numbers here. Keep in mind, some of the higher numbers, which are not being registered here, are going to be on the west side of the valley, where we could see 30, 40 mile an hour winds. But look at the afternoon on Wednesday. You see how the winds are beginning to subside. But I still think the winds will be breezy, borderline windy, even going into your Thursday. I mean, there's Thursday afternoon, we're seeing gusts close again to 30 miles per hour. So despite the fact that the wind advisory will expire for your Wednesday afternoon, I still think it's going to be breezy, borderline windy tomorrow into Thursday. So the high temperatures yesterday, yeah, they're warming up a bit. We're in the mid 70s, give or take, yesterday for the valley. And of course, it was colder. Susanville, that temperature is wrong. That wasn't the high temperature. Some false data coming in there. I'll have to double check that number, but it's definitely not 37 for yesterday. But really what I wanted to illustrate is that these temperatures are going to be just a tad warmer for most of us today. But still on the cooler side for North Coast, Siskiyou County, and even Modoc County, the mid to upper 50s. But Trinity County and the Eastern Mountains, I'm expecting mid to upper 60s there. And when we look at Futurecast, as far as cloud cover is concerned, yeah, a little bit of cloud cover off to the north and west, but that's pretty common, especially these storm systems that do skirt Northern California. But I do expect it to be a dry day and mainly sunny for the rest of us. So for today, mid-70s, 75 for Redding, 76 in Chico, 68 for Susanville, not the 37 we saw the high yesterday. That was junk. 56 degrees out towards Alturas and Aden, and mid to upper 50s along the coast. So looking at your 7-day outlook, we've got those temperatures just slowly ticking upward. By Thursday, upper 70s, and really even by tomorrow, and 83 by Friday. That's the peak of the warming trend. But check this out. We're still seeing that trend that we've seen all month long, where we see a big spike in the temperatures and then a big spike downwards. And we're going from 83, we're talking about probably another 20-degree drop in our temperatures from Friday to Saturday. And on top of that, wet weather entering the picture. And it's not going to be just a tiny bit of rain. I think we could actually see a decent amount of rainfall out of it. We'll take a closer look at that here in a second. But temperatures will kind of start to tick their way back up as we do go into next week, in particular for the inland areas, and not to mention the mountains and valley. Now, I have included a chance for some showers on Thursday for the coast, and in particular northern Del Norte and northern Humboldt and Del Norte counties. Siskiyou County might see a chance for a shower, especially the north end of the Siskiyou County on Thursday. And then better chances maybe for some showers for Alturas and in Modoc County. But the eastern mountains most likely dry through Friday, with that rain coming in over the weekend. Take a look at what it looks like outside right now as far as the cameras are concerned. Looking at Main Street, Chico. Boy, we got that sun. It is a-shining. Take a look at Highway 99 at Neal Road. Got some traffic out there. People heading out to work early this morning at a little after 7 o'clock. Sundial Bridge Drive on Highway 44. You can see some of the traffic out there. It looks a little hazy out there, but of course that's pretty close to the Sacramento River. That's pretty typical. Taking a look at Crescent City Harbor District, a few clouds off in the distance. Those are the clouds that are approaching from the north. So as you head north, yeah, we will see some cloud cover out there. Taking out to Lake Orville, this is actually out at the dam. Kind of looking off in the distance there, we have got ourselves plenty of sunshine there, and maybe we'll check out the next movement of the camera to see where it takes us, but it'd be kind of nice to maybe, there's some of the water that we can see. Looks to be a little breezy out there in Oroville. Look at the water there. A little choppy this morning. So again, it just depends on where you are. Some areas that are sheltered by those winds are going to be looking at calmer winds. Other areas like Lake Oroville, but of course you're talking about an open body of water. There's really not much sheltering it from the wind. So you're going to be looking at kind of those, you can see some of the white water from those waves. So, yeah. Probably a little gusty, a little breezy out there. Let's see if we can get a shot of the water flowing from the dam. No, not so much. We're going to kind of sit here for a while before we kind of get to it. Let's go ahead. I want to mention, too, remind you that I do have radio partners, Kate Shasta 104.3, 106X. So if you're in the car in the morning and you want to listen to any one of my radio partners, you will hear me in the morning with them. Not to mention KQMS with Steve and Clark at 8:05 in the morning. All right, good morning, everyone. How you doing? Shelly from Weaverville chiming in this morning. We got Lisa and Ruth Sanchez saying good morning. We got Tammy Blank watching from YouTube, KCK. A normal May for me is supposed to have 3.8 inches of rain. Needed to delay the wildfire season. It's kind of that typical. I was talking to a buddy of mine this past weekend. We could see all of the growth. And it's all green, though. Especially with all the rain that we've seen. So a lot of times what happens is, every year you say, it's going to be a bad fire season. Well, the type of fire season we're going to see here is, of course, probably a little bit more delayed because we're going to have all this green. And then once the rain stops, a lot of that green turns into dry brush. And then, of course, we got more kindling for those fires later on in the season. Now, another thing that we've been very fortunate about the last few seasons are the winds. I'll tell you what, yes, granted, and, there were people that lost homes over the last few years, last 2 seasons. But from an overall standpoint, we didn't really have a ton of fires. Again, last year it was a big deal out towards the northwest, Del Norte County in particular, parts of Trinity County, western Siskiyou, and even northern Humboldt. But again, from an overall standpoint, it just wasn't that bad. The saving grace over the last few seasons have been the lack of major wind events. And, that's one thing that I'm going to be watching this year. Are we going to see any major wind events? I mean, only time will tell. But if we can keep ourselves from these major wind events, that can make a big difference as to whether or not we see a widespread active fire season as opposed to not as widespread. So something to think about here as we kind of get into the fire season. Dizzy saying, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone has a best day ever. That's a good attitude. That's a good way to start your day. Let's look for the best day ever. Bill Carlton saying, good morning. Thanks for the video from the cool April nights. My mom really enjoyed it. Nice here in Red Bluff. The morning, have a great day. You too. Good morning. Have a wonderful day and enjoy your cup of coffee. I will. Here it is. Here's my cup of coffee. We got Curtis saying good morning. A little breezy this morning. We'll see what happens today. He'll say to let me know tomorrow. And of course, Shelley from Weaverville saying good morning as well with her cup of coffee. Hope you're all enjoying that cup of coffee out there this morning. Well, today is Tuesday. We don't have any special reports to tell you about, so let's take a look at the National Day calendar. It's kind of fun checking that out, right? National Bubble Tea Day. Now, some of these are a bit of a repeat from yesterday, actually. These first 3 on the top there that you see, they were yesterday. I don't know if there's some kind of glitch in the website there, but National Bubble Tea Day. I don't know. How about you? How many of you like that bubbly tea? First of all, it's super sugary, so it's not good for you. But number 2, I've never been a big fan of those bubbles that you bite into. I'm not into biting into things and then it's things gushing out of them. It just doesn't sound very good. Frank saying good morning from beautiful Monterey. Good morning to you. National Prepare-a-thon Day. All right, that was yesterday. We talked about that. That's usually making sure that you're prepared. I think we're talking about kind of like if there's making sure the kids know the fire route, the exits of the house, where to meet when you all kind of get dispersed. National Military Brats Day. If you're a military brat, maybe you appreciate that day. National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day. Well, now that's a good day. I mean, that should be every day, right? If you're thinking about getting a pet or a dog or a cat, I say the first place you look is the shelter, because there's a very good chance you may find something you like. This is interesting. National Sarcoidosis Day. I think I said that properly, but apparently it's a condition of the lungs and it's just kind of a national awareness. So if you see somebody wearing a purple ribbon today, well, now you know why. National Raisins Day. Who likes raisins? Anybody like raisins? And I can see the different colors of raisins. I remember I was never really a big fan of raisins, but raisins can accompany different things, and I think that could be a good thing. All right, so that was fun. Just taking a look at all that. So again, just kind of reminding you of the radio partners and getting ready to kick off the day. Let's get ourselves into the deep dive forecast. So there may have been people that have been come and gone, because the overall objective of kind of Coffee with Krueger is start off with just a quick forecast to get you out the door, for those of you, then you can just be on with your day. Then maybe have a little bit of chat if people are feeling chatty. If you're not feeling chatty, no big worries, but ask a question, make a comment. What you doing today? Maybe we can kind of talk about it. If not, then we get into the forecast. So let's take a look at that forecast here, see what's going on here for today. First of all, though, we got to mention our sponsor, and that is Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. So we get 2-hour temperatures out there right now. Again, a little chilly. I think it just depends on who you are. For me, I'm not a big fan of 49 degrees. That's chilly for me, but for others, that may not be so bad. Now, where it's really chilly is in El Turris, Bernie, in those mid to upper 20s there, as well as Chester at 27 degrees. There, of course, we've got 32 in Susanville. I just got a message in from Catherine in Castle saying 27 degrees. No big surprises there. 31 degrees in Weaverville. What am I doing? Let's get... There we go. I got up and you probably saw me putting on my coat and everything. Oh, fun. I forgot to change the source. Now you're looking at the current temperatures. Let me get that cursor out of there too. 27 degrees for Chester. 32 degrees in Susanville right now, 27 for El Turris, 32 degrees in Yreka, 29 degrees in Quincy, and there you can see, looks like out in Eureka, temperature of about 41 degrees. All right, there's a freeze warning for Trinity County until 11 o'clock this morning. That's also the case for Del Norte and also Humboldt County as well. So just be aware of that. Those temperatures are dropping, and we could see some of that frost over some of the sensitive vegetation out there. So, of course, don't forget about your pets. Make sure that they are safe and warm. Wind advisory in the valley. We'll talk about that in more detail here, but the warming trend the rest of the week. Talk about how much warmer it's going to get. With showers returning this weekend, yeah, we've got more rain in the forecast, believe it or not. We're going to see a big drop in our temperatures, too. This roller coaster ride that we've seen through the entire month of April, where the temperatures go up and down and up and down, we're continuing that trend going into the first week of May. We are going to be looking at a big drop in our temperatures this weekend. So let's talk about that wind advisory for the valley, surrounding foothills. Now, it won't take effect until 11 o'clock tonight and will last through 5 p.m. Wednesday. Now, again, and I was mentioning this earlier, I'm not terribly concerned about this wind event. You know, when we're talking about wind alerts this time of the year, sometimes there's a bit of that fire danger, and certainly not the big case right now, and not a ton of fuels right now. So then, of course, the next concern is, what about power outages? Well, yes, when you start getting those wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour, power outages are a concern. But I don't think we're going to see wind gusts that high. And in fact, I've got those winds sustained out of the northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. That might be pushing it. I think it might be closer to 10 to 20. And then I think we could see gusts, I think, pushing it at 40. I think probably closer to 20 to 30, 35, maybe 40 in some areas here. So again, not terribly concerned about this wind event, but you're going to notice it. You're going to notice the winds today. You're going to notice them even more so tomorrow. It's going to be windy tomorrow. So take a look at the wind gusts, and this is what I was talking about. I was looking at other forecast models too. And again, I was just looking at the overall wind event. And yes, what I'm noticing is this. West side and north side of the valley is where we'll probably see some of the strongest winds. You can kind of see that right here. That's through 5 p.m. today. Now we take you to tomorrow morning. You see how the winds are fairly strong once again, west side of the valley, and also typical, especially in some of those canyons, just east of the valley in those foothills, some gusty winds there kind of blowing through the canyons. Like, for example, Jarbo Gap, for example. We take you out to Wednesday, 5 p.m. You see how the winds are starting to subside, especially north end of the valley. Even the west side of the valley is seeing those weaker winds. So the winds will subside, but still breezy, borderline windy going into Wednesday night and into Thursday. You see how we're still seeing those winds fairly elevated. But again, not a major wind event by any stretch of the imagination. Here's the storm track. This is the track that the storms follow. That storm track is mainly to our north, and that's why the rain and snow is up to our north. Now, we're seeing some of those clouds kind of spill over, and that's why we're seeing some of those clouds in some areas here, but the temperature outlook is still expected to be below normal in the long range. And we look at May 8th through May 14th. And we look at the precipitation outlook. You see how it's backed off a bit. Remember, there were some darker greens in there yesterday over Northern California. And then, of course, I made the comment of, I think that might be pushing it, because I'm not expecting a ton of rain, but that darker green means a better chance of seeing above normal rainfall. We're in the lighter shades of green, which is a slimmer chance of above normal rainfall. But bottom line, that rain is in the forecast. So let's kind of walk through the timing of everything. All right, so for today, just some clouds off to the north and west, kind of spilling over those clouds I was talking about as the storm tracks to our north, but we've got those sunny skies for pretty much everyone else. Again, keep in mind, it's breezy, borderline windy out there today and even tomorrow. Taking a Wednesday, dry. Now, look at this. As we go into Thursday, The storm off to our north is just going to skirt Northern California. So yeah, I think Del Norte, Northern Humboldt, Siskiyou, even Modoc County, through the first half of the day on Thursday, I think we've got showers, and then maybe even some showers going into Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening for the coast, but it probably will dry out towards Siskiyou and Modoc County Thursday afternoon. Here's the long range. All right, we're going to start off by looking at the wind situation and why we're seeing those winds. Now, you probably heard me say this before, inside slider. And what that is a lot of times you have high pressure to our south and west, which, by the way, this ridge is pretty far away from us, but typically you have high pressure to our south and west, and you see these storm systems that kind of skirt Northern California. We're seeing that, and then they kind of move down into Nevada and over the desert southwest. That's the typical track of these inside sliders. But these are moving more toward Idaho and into Montana, right? So watch this low pressure system. Moves off to the east. But then there's another one coming in behind that that's going to help to reinforce the winds as we go through the day on Wednesday. So again, the difference between this low and this high is going to give us those gusty winds. But again, number one, they're fairly far apart. We do have, see these white lines are called isobars, and when they're tightly packed, that's when you see those winds begin to pick up. So they are tightly packed, but again, I've seen worse conditions. And that's why I'm not expecting this to be a major event. Now, check this out. This is the next system. So we're not focusing on the winds anymore at this point. So by the time we get in the weekend, we've got cold air here. Here's a cold front, right? Behind it, some colder air. So as we go into Saturday, that cold front moves through and the rain. Now, this is not going to be kind of spotty showers off and on here and there. You know, we could be looking at the potential for, you know, periods of light rain, then a little bit heavier, then light rain, but fairly steady. It's going to be widespread through a good portion of the day on Saturday, especially as you head down to the south. But look at that. We're seeing more snow in the Sierra. Now, you're going to have to go pretty high in elevation, probably above 7,000 feet. But this is what's going to contribute to that. That low pressure system is expected to shift off to the east on Sunday. Now, I still expect a few lingering showers kind of on the back side of the area of low pressure, and it could bring us a few showers. But I think the main event for rain at this point looks to be on Saturday. And then we go into Sunday, that chance begins to diminish. But another thing I need to mention, remember yesterday, there was a lot of uncertainty. There's still some uncertainty with today's forecast as well, but I'll say this. The European forecast model, even though it's tracking this low to the north of us, yesterday it was more to the north. Today, that track of that low is expected to be a little bit more to the south, which is why even the European forecast model is fairly aggressive with the rainfall on Saturday. And then, of course, as we go into Sunday, that would shift off to the east, and this will shift off to the north and east as well going into early next week. But another thing I want you to take note here is this. Remember I was talking about these isobars when they're tightly packed together? Look at early next week, next Monday, next Tuesday. You see how we're seeing, now the winds I think will be strongest up here, but we may see those winds pick back up here for early next week, but dry conditions. All right, so how much rain can we expect? Again, I don't want to give you any specific numbers now. That's just not even something I want to do, but I want to show you the footprint of where most of the rain will be. Off to our north over the Pacific Northwest. This is where we're going to see the snow in the higher elevations. But you see the greens here, these lighter and darker shades of green. So we're going to be upwards of, I'd say, 1/4 to 1/2 inch, I think, on average. There may be a few spots in the valley could see upwards of maybe around 1 inch. Okay, I don't think we're going to get much more than that. Now, as you head along the coast here, yes, 1 to possibly close to 2 inches. That's a very good possibility here. But I think you'll see less as you head into the valley and start heading off to the north, northeast as well. Again, don't want to give you any specific numbers just yet, but just a general ballpark of what we could possibly see out of it. And it's you know, it's not tiny. It's a decent amount of rainfall, especially for this time of the year. Looking at the wave heights for today, all right, they're going to be fairly high, but they should start to drop here as we take you on into your Wednesday. In fact, we take a look at your marine forecast for today. There is a small craft advisory for this afternoon going into tonight as well. So again, those gusty winds, the high waves could create some problems. All right, here's your detailed neighborhood by neighborhood forecast, starting off with Trinity County. So let's talk about the 7-day forecast first and foremost. Notice it's dry all the way through Friday. There's that rain coming in Saturday, and maybe some leftover showers on Sunday. That's going to be the story for everyone. Saturday, Sunday, everyone's got that chance for rain. And again, Saturday being the main event, Sunday slimmer chances. So Trinity County to the south, same situation there as well. Now, take a look at this. For southern Humboldt County, Tuesday through Friday, I've got you dry. There's that Saturday, Sunday rain, right? But as we head north, look what happens. We're seeing a slight chance for a stray shower on Thursday. You saw that on Futurecast. That system just clipping Northern California. So I think places like Ferndale, Hydesville, Rio del Fortuna, much slimmer chances. In fact, you may most likely make it through the day on Thursday with dry conditions. But up north, Trinidad, McKinleyville, you're kind of in the southern fringe of where some of that rain might be. So places like Willow Creek, Hoopa, you may see a stray shower this upcoming Thursday. But Smith River, Crescent City, Oric, all of the areas in Del Norte County most likely seeing that chance for showers, better chances on Thursday. And then, of course, going into the weekend. Siskiyou County, same situation. Thursday, you may see a stray shower early through the morning hours, but by the afternoon on Thursday, it'll dry out. Otherwise, it's dry through Friday. Taking you into Scott Valley, same situation there, but today temperature is in the upper 50s, 55 for Fort Jones, 58 degrees in Etna. For the central and eastern Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, some of the cooler spots, as we typically see off to the north and east, a little bit higher elevations there. 59 degrees for Mount Shasta City, 61 for McLeod, and 56 in Weed today. Your Modoc County neighborhood forecast, once again, Thursday, maybe a chance for an isolated shower, especially through the morning. By the afternoon, it dries out. And then, of course, that rain coming in on Saturday. Eastern Mountains, you're dry all the way through Friday with that rain coming in over the weekend. Temperatures today should be in the low to mid 60s. Lake Almanor, Lassen Park, you're also dry through Friday. Look at those temperatures plummeting too. On Friday, a high of 69 in Chester, down to 56 degrees on Saturday. Oh man, those temperatures are dropping again. I mean, we're even in paradise. Look at that, 74 on Friday, back down to 58 on Saturday. All right, let's take a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast to the south, brought to you by NorCal Tractor. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s for those daytime highs there today. You see how the temperatures are just ticking upward. It's going to be a warm Friday before those temperatures do plummet again going into your Saturday. So today, City of Shasta Lake, 73, 75 for Redding, and Palisadro about 74 degrees. Looking at your 7-day outlook for Redding, breezy. We'll call it windy tomorrow, and then we do expect those winds to die down, but still breezy, even going into your Thursday. But by Friday, the winds should die down. It should be warmer, too, with a high of about 83 degrees, and then 64, much cooler. We're talking about probably close to a 20-degree drop from Friday to Saturday. Crazy, right? I mean, here we are, we're going into May. Tomorrow is the first day of May, and we are going to be talking about 64 degrees and showers on Saturday. Now, Sunday, I don't expect a lot of rainfall at this point. It'll probably be kind of exiting the region, but you got the chance for showers. But the best day of the two will be on Sunday, of when we're talking weekend, right? And then going into Monday, we're back up to 70 under partly cloudy skies. We got a question here from Lisa during my forecast here. She's asking which forecast model tends to be more accurate. Quite honestly, I lean toward the European forecast model. It tends to do a little bit better with the forecast. However, that's not always the case. Sometimes the American or the GFS forecast model can win out, and we see better, kind of performing better. I'll say this: the GFS with the last two storms actually performed better than the European forecast model. So I think I mentioned this yesterday. Yesterday there was a lot of uncertainty as to whether or not we'd see rain over the weekend because the European forecast model was completely dry for Saturday, Sunday, yesterday. But coming in this morning, checking out the latest forecast model data, I'm like, wow, okay. The path of the storm for the European forecast model is still a lot different than that of the American forecast model, but the path of the storm from the European forecast model is allowing for the potential for some rain on Saturday. So our confidence in rain is getting a little bit higher for Saturday, but still a lot of details to iron out as far as the path of the storm, the intensity of the storm, how much rain we'll see, what the snow will be like. So a lot of things that you got to take into account. So, as you start kind of looking out. So hopefully as we start getting closer and closer to the weekend, the European and the GFS forecast model can kind of come into more alignment. And when they start doing that, then our confidence gets higher in that forecast. But again, just from an overall broad sense, Lisa, The forecast model that I tend to lean more toward is the European forecast model. It tends to be more accurate. Good question. I love questions like that. Challenge me. Ask me questions. I'm always big on, because, weather is just one of those topics. People love to talk about it. They love to learn about it. And I love to teach it. So there you have it, folks. Let's take a look at some of the cameras out there this morning. This is looking out at Elk Country. Still love this camera. This is, before I even launched Weather NorCal, the owner of this resort allowed me to put this camera up. And I gotta tell you, man, this camera is tried and true. It has yet to fail me. Knock on wood. Right? Because it's been great. I put one up in Crescent City shortly after that. It failed me pretty quickly. And it's just, I think it had a lot to do with the internet service over there, and it's just a bummer. But I'm hoping to get more cameras here in the future. But this, yes, this is my camera. This is Weather NorCal's camera. Looking at it. It's the only one right now that I have that is operational. Of course, there are other cameras that we have access to, such as this one out at Lake Oroville, North Forebay. So there you can see right there. Well, that is going to do it for today. So much appreciate you all joining me this morning and checking out the forecast, asking questions. I am here for you. Be sure to keep checking in throughout the day. I update the forecast at 6 a.m. in the morning. I also update it at noon and then 6 p.m. in the evening. You can always check the latest forecast on weathernorcal.com from the free Weather NorCal app. You can also, of course, watch on YouTube as well. And there's a 24-hour streaming channel available on YouTube, Roku, and Amazon Fire Stick. Until tomorrow, you have yourselves a wonderful Tuesday, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.